Hello and welcome to this episode of Trash to Track. Now I'm not doing a normal voiceover, I'm doing this as I do it this time. It's just something different, see if it works. If it doesn't, you will never see it. But we've got this Lima Class 50 that has been sent in to me by somebody, I can't remember his name. Ron Goodwin. I've serviced his locos before. Now Ron said this wasn't working at all. Now looking at it, both the coupling hooks are bent inwards. Sorry that the light's not very good, I'm using a lamp. But I think that's happened in the box, that the coupling hook's being bent. So let's put this beast on the track. Give it a bit of juice from the battery. Dead. It's a poorly 50. These are pretty easy to work on, the old Lima stuff. Pretty simple unless I open it and there's some nasties inside. Now to remove the body shell, I'm just going to unclip the side clips. It's very handy for a 50 because these sandbox fillers on the detailed model, you know, they actually act as body side clips. The designer at Lima, when this was made in the early 80s, was using his noodle for that. Just scroll that along. There we go. Now that should come off relatively simply, he says. There are no screws on these models, it is all just clips, which is good. Less screws for me to lose. And there we go, it's off. Whoops. So nothing untoward in there. It is the very simple Lima setup. There's a few hairs and a lot of fluff on it. So if I put this on the motor terminals, it's trying to go. So it is a working model, it just needs a service, I think. So we'll start with the dummy bogie. Just get the pliers and straighten that coupling out. So this could be a bit of a longer video than you're used to because I'm doing it real time. So to start with, what I'm going to do is fiberglass pencil's running out, so I'll do it like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to work inside. Oh, that's handy. I've sent a bit of kitchen roll. I always work over a bit of kitchen roll with a fiberglass pencil because it does knock some fibres, you know, it leaves some fibres and you really don't want them on your workbench or table, wherever you're working on your models. So just a quick polish up, and you can see already the difference in that wheel, how shiny it is compared to the others. And there on the tissue you can see what is left. Now I don't like wasting these. This is the only thing about a fiberglass pencil, is you're left with these little stubs that you can never use, and I don't like the waste, but that one's had it. So let's change that out. Right, that's better. And now I can give these wheels a proper clean up. So this 50's obviously had some use in the past. This fibres on this pen are breaking up very easily. I don't like that. I don't know if that's a faulty batch or what. Right, so this is 5 minutes later. I've cleaned all the wheels up. Then I gave them a wipe with a cotton bud and mess. So that's all clean. Pop that bogie back in there, and then it is held in place with this clip, which also transfers power. Now on my Lima models that I've digitally fitted, old piece of grease there. Look at that. I've actually soldered that on. Now let's see if that's made a difference to the pickups, or whether or not I'm not sure whether it would have done, because I've not obviously done the other ones yet, but nope. So even though they're clean, we're going to have to remove the weights wedged in there. Have to remove the motor bogie, and to do that you undo the 2 screws on the bogie frame. So the bogie frame comes off and the motor bogie should lift out like that. And if I remove that wire again, put those to the side, I could straighten that out while we're at it. So that's both, just using these tweezers and those pliers. There's a lot of there's a lot of old gunk and stuff on there, old grease. Maybe somebody's put the wrong grease in this. Yeah, look at that. It's all there. It's like an earwaxy type stuff. Look at that. Ah, that's why it's not picking up, look. The solder has come unstuck. And there's yet more of this horrible orange grease. The motor is quite stiff to turn by hand. I mean, look at all this. We're going to have to strip this right down, I think. So let's take the motor faceplate off. Oh, hang on, there's more of that stuff there, look. Good old cotton bud of mess, can't beat it. Look at it, it's almost like earwax. It's horrible stuff. So let's take the motor faceplate off and see what we're dealing with inside the motor. Keeps slipping off. I need a bigger screwdriver. There's the springs in there, there's the brushes. Again, cotton bud of mess. Armature commutator is very, very dirty. So let's give that a bit of a clean up. That's what I do. I said it earlier, I do like these Lima models. They are very, very easy to work on. I cut my modelling teeth on this sort of thing, repairing this. So now I've got the majority of it off. What I'm doing is I'm very gently just polishing the surface with the fiberglass pencil to remove any stubborn marks. You can see how much dirt come off it on that cotton bud. Carbon deposits. So there's the commutator, all nice and clean. So I need to remove this. I don't think that hex driver's, no, that's just a bit too small. So let's take these out. Just turn it around with me pliers. And I'll remove all the cogs, or the gears, should I say, because there's a lot of hair and fluff wrapped around these. A lot of old grease. Yeah, look at that. Can you see the hair on that? Oh yeah, look at that. It's practically got a wig in it. Disgusting. And that will all create friction for the motor. So another cotton bud. I get through so many cotton buds. There is, look at all that. That is disgusting. But I will clean it all off, put some fresh grease on it, reassemble it, and then we can re-solder that joint. But for a model of its age, I'm not surprised. Like I said, I don't think this has ever been apart before, just judging by how tight the screws were in the plastic. Yeah, so now I've got the old toothbrush, just going to give that a going in there, because as you can see it's quite greasy. And another cotton bud, another bit of mess, just to, whoops, bit too much there, but it will evaporate. Just going to clean everything. And then I'll put this side back together and do the other side. and then lubricate it up. Now the gears themselves don't look too bad. Let's give these a bit of a wipe. Get rid of all the old grease. Yeah, just wiping these. Sorry about that. Didn't realise it wasn't in the car. Like I say, I don't usually speak while I do these. Usually got the radio on or something. But I thought I'd do. Ouch, I've got a fibre in my finger. I thought I'd do the commentary as I went along with this one, because I envisaged it being quite quick. Ouch, that hurts. So the gears just go back on. That one goes face down. That one goes that way. I've done that wrong way around, but I tell you what I haven't done. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of oil on the spindles with this pin dropper. That's all you need. Very, very small amount. Don't be tempted ever to use 3-in-1 oil, because it's not good for your models. It can damage the plastics, warp plastics, and if you do that, you will ruin your model. Then the hex nut goes back in. I'll just tighten that with my fingers as far as it will go, and then use my, where are they gone? Tweezernose pliers, which are still covered in fluff, just to tighten that up, and then I'll do the same on the other side. Right, so that's that all rebuilt, all cleaned, spindles oiled. Look at some LaBelle 106, which I'm rapidly running out of. Just to put on the drivetrain, just a little bit. There's another hair there. Just to grease that. Now that might look a lot, but it isn't. It will spread out. It will spread out when it's running. Right, now to reassemble the motor. I'm going to screw the faceplate back on first. Where's that screwdriver gone? That's what I like about the Lima Ringfield pancake motors, is to service them, it's all, whoops, it's all a screwed affair. You know, it's better. The Hornby Ringfield's got those clips that break, whereas these being screwed in, and the whole thing comes out. The commutator with the gear on it all comes out as one piece. So if you want to put a CD motor in it, it's relatively easy. So I'm going to now just make sure I don't hold the wrong end of the soldering iron. Put that back on there. That's soldered that back on. Let's get that out of the way. I cleaned the edges of the brushes earlier. They're all nice and in fact, looking at these brushes, they're in very good condition. Now there's one of the springs, so that sits over the top of the brush, and then the retainer is gently folded down. Now where on earth is the other spring gone? It was there a moment ago. The other spring had very unhandily hooked itself onto one of the gear teeth on the rear of the model. So what I am going to do, just before I test it, is I'm going to get a tiny drop of oil and put on that bearing there, because that obviously spins at quite high revolutions, and one on the back. So if we get any oil on the pin dropper, and then a test with a battery. Oh yes, look at that. Look at that. That is running like a Swiss watch. Beautiful. Like I said, bomb-proof these things, really. Now, how did this go back in there? It must have gone in that way because the wire leads off. So, what on earth is that? Why would you have a moped or whatever that sounded like that? This pickup piece under here I had a look at off camera. Very nice and clean and shiny. No need to do anything with that. And then it's just a case of screwing the bogie frame back on. If I hook this all back up, this chassis, weight back in, this chassis should run. And if it does, I'll put the other bogie screw back in. I'm sure that moved just then. There we go. So it was just a case of building with dirt. Now it wasn't running the best then. What are these traction tyres like? No, they're alright. Oh, they're alright. They're good. Right, so now what I've done is I've hooked up some leads to a controller. You can see it's running. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to set that to a medium speed. And then just let the wheels clean themselves against the fiberglass pencil, and you can see how shiny they're getting. It doesn't take much. It's just easier than trying to turn them by hand. Then with a cotton bud of mess, just wipe the surface of the wheels, including the traction tied side, because that will have a lot of dirt on it. And then the middle wheels I shall clean by hand as I did before. But as you can hear, this 50 is back into operational condition. So we'll just clean these middle wheels and then put the body shell back on, and we're virtually done. Right, now that middle wheel's been cleaned, just remove the chassis and then just sweep off the fibres onto the floor, and I'll hoover those up. So that is virtually it. Body shell is in good condition. Just dust off inside the thing there for the brake housing, and there we go, and there we go. So that is Revenge all rebuilt. So I'll just move some of these tools out of the way. Right, so if you remember from the start, this 50 didn't run at all. Obviously there was a broken wire, and it was very dirty. And there we have it. Another Lima diesel back doing what it should be doing. So that's the rebuild of the 50 finished for Ron. It's not a bad looking model for its age, really. You know, I know the Hornby one and the Accurascale one knock spots off it, but for budget modelling it runs nice if it's serviced well. It looks like a 50. The only thing is that in this condition, pre-refurbishment, when you've got the things like the sandboxes and the gap in the roof for the brake equipment and that is correct for a 50 in this condition. It's not correct for the large logo or later ones, because on refurbishment they lost it all. But if you do a bit of detail and a bit of modelling, they don't look too bad, and for a budget model they are really good. And as you've just seen in this video, they're very, very easy and relatively quick to service. So what we'll do now is we'll jump to the dining table and have the 50 running around with a few coaches for a bit, and then we'll call this one a day. So as it transpired, I actually ran the 50 at Trains for You on their test layout, hauling these 4 Triang bogie tankers, and I think it looked right at home hauling these around. So I had a thorough test here. It runs perfectly now, no problems at all. So it was packed up and sent back to Ron. So thank you very much for watching Trash to Track again. Please like, share and subscribe. I'll leave you now. There is no background noise to this 50 running in the shop, because there was a very busy day at the shop. There was a lot of background noise, so I've edited all that out, and it will just be quiet music as the 50 runs around. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.